Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're taking a truly fascinating journey, kind of zooming in on something that initially seemed like a bizarre, almost mythical discovery deep within the dense forest of China. But as you'll see, it actually points to a massive regional biodiversity boom. It's the kind of boom that is quite literally rewriting the biological maps of what we know about the natural world. If you're someone who loves unraveling scientific mysteries and seeing exactly how these hidden, almost microscopic ecosystems function out there in the wild, well, you are absolutely in the right place. So let's get started. Okay, let's dive into this. What has two heads and hides in the leaves? I mean, it sounds exactly like the setup to a childhood riddle, doesn't it? Or maybe the vivid description of a terrifying monster from some local folktale. Something said to be lurking on the dark, damp forest floor. For a second, just imagine walking through the thick woods right at twilight. You're looking down at the soil, crunching through the dead leaves, and suddenly you stumble across a creature that seems to be watching you from both ends simultaneously, right? It's exactly the kind of thing that captures our imagination and really makes us wonder what lives out there in the dark.
But here's the incredible part. This isn't a myth at all. Meet Calamaria incredibilis, or as it's more commonly known to us, the Guangxi Reed Snake. This newly discovered species is entirely non-venomous, and it's beautifully identified by its distinct, really slender brown scales. And those scales are perfectly accented by 7 dark stripes running right down its back. Now, these unique physical features, they aren't just for show. They actually make this little animal an absolute master of camouflage as it quietly navigates the dense leaf litter, the tight cracks between rocks, and the dark, nutrient-rich soil of those ancient forests in southern China.
Now, before your imagination runs completely wild, picturing some massive, intimidating, two-headed serpent stalking the Asian jungle, let's look at the actual scale of this quote-unquote monster. It is incredibly tiny. It measures in at just under 8 inches long. To put that into perspective, that's actually shorter than the width of a standard piece of printer paper. So this terrifying beast of the forest floor is really something so remarkably small and delicate that it can comfortably coil up right in the palm of your hand without even hanging over the edges. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark, honestly almost comical contrast in this animal's daily behavior. On one hand, the Guangxi reed snake is highly docile and mostly nocturnal. It generally just minds its own business, spending its time hiding out in those rock cracks and feeding mostly on earthworms and soft insect larvae. Sounds very peaceful, right? But then, the moment it's threatened by a predator, it immediately snaps into a defensive state. And that is exactly when it deploys that mysterious second head illusion to ward off threats and totally confuse anything trying to eat it. It's just an absolutely incredible evolutionary trick packed into this tiny, unassuming worm eater. And here's where the story broadens out a bit, because this unique snake is far from a standalone anomaly in the region. Actually, earlier this year, researchers working in the exact same kind of habitat, specifically over in the Huaping National Nature Reserve, they stumbled upon another brand new species entirely. They identified the Huaping leaf-leer toad, scientifically known as Leptobrecula cathaya. And, it really just goes to show that these dark, damp environments of decaying leaves and loose soil, they aren't just patches of empty dirt. They are actually bustling, incredibly complex ecosystems that are hiding completely uncatalogued life forms right from under our noses. Let's move to and see how this builds, because this wave of incredible discovery extends far beyond China's borders. Consider a massive biodiversity survey that was recently conducted deep in the sprawling underground caves of a northwestern province in Cambodia. The really intensive fieldwork for this project kicked off back in November 2023, and it required such meticulous effort that it didn't even conclude until July 2025. Then, the jaw-dropping results of all that labor were finally published in March 2026. And the outcome of those years of dark, difficult, and frankly dangerous cave exploration, the official revelation of at least 11 entirely new animal species to science. Just consider the incredible roster of creatures that came out of that Cambodian cave survey. We aren't just talking about a microscopic bug here or there. No way. The researchers uncovered a striking turquoise pit viper, a literal flying sneak, 3 entirely new species of gecko, right alongside various microsnails and specialized millipedes. And many of these new animals are still being formally named and characterized by scientists right now. It is absolutely thrilling to realize the sheer volume of wild, complex, and highly evolved animals that we are just now discovering and documenting in the year 2026. So the crucial point is, well, the researchers who first identified our tiny two-headed snake friend put it perfectly. They stated that this discovery confirms Guangxi as an important hotspot of cryptic diversification in southern China. Now, cryptic diversification is a truly fascinating concept in biology. It essentially means that right under our noses, species are splitting off, they're adapting to highly specific microenvironments, and evolving in ways that are entirely hidden to the naked eye. This naturally illustrates a vital overarching point. Preserving these specific isolated nature reserves is absolutely critical for maintaining global biodiversity. Because without actively protecting these wild habitats, these incredible hotspots would just vanish, taking all their undocumented creatures with them before we even knew they existed. Which brings us to a final, pretty mind-bending thought to leave you with today. If a fascinating, seemingly two-headed snake hiding in the leaves, a vibrant turquoise pit viper, and a literal flying snake managed to go completely unnoticed by modern science all the way until 2026, what else is waiting to be discovered out there in the wild? I want you to really imagine the vast, unknown worlds existing right beneath our feet, in the dense layers of forest leaves and deep inside those unexplored, pitch-black caves. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes open, stay curious, and remember, nature is clearly still hiding some incredible secrets.